Hello everyone and welcome to episode 129 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Shane.
Hello.
And that's it. We're just doing a two-man show. I'm Neomaster as always. I never introduced myself at the start of these podcasts, I've realized after all these episodes. Like I always just assume that everyone knows who's speaking to them. I don't.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you jump into like episode 129, you're like, who the fuck is this? I mean, either you should be watching the video and it has my little name down there. Maybe I should.
He sounds like a dog. I would trust him.
Sure, I don't know. Fuck, that's yeah. the ethereal voice that hosts this podcast. I'm trying to get myself replaced by an AI, but I haven't quite worked out the automation yet.
We're getting there though, but that's it's a little wonky. It's still very racist.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it's for some reason you start spouting out all kinds. Like, I guess because I probably shouldn't have trained it on Twitter. Apparently that was my mistake.
Every time we turn on AI Matt, he just starts talking about how Hitler was right, and we're like, no. It's
like, okay, shut that down.
We'll figure it out later.
As always, we're doing the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Come say hi, hang out in the chat. We've got Bulbasaur in here already. I always try to put a post out on the Discord as well if you need to know when the show's going live. But without any further ado, I guess we'll get straight into it. I do have a couple of community questions that are kind of posed. We had one from last week and one that I posed a few days ago. The first one is from our co-host Keo, who couldn't be here today. He's working, but he says, what is the most disappointing item you have personally received as part of a game collection edition or you were otherwise excited for? I would say for me, it was the plasma cutter that came with the special edition for Dead Space 2. On top of this, what is one that got away? Like some item that you really wish you had that was part of a collector's edition. He really wanted the Dead Island Riptide bust because it was infamously bad taste. Sure, that's the reason, buddy.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was really bad. It was really bad.
Like, here's some boobs.
Yeah, this is a
Okay,
literal
cool.
disembodied torso with some tits. Yeah. I don't know, Shane. Do you go in with the collector's edition stuff all that often?
I have very few. I have my shelf out here off screen, and the only one I really have is like the Zombrex edition for Dead Rising 2 because I was so excited for that game. Other than that, not really. I don't buy physical anymore either. So,
Same.
actually, I don't buy them enough, but don't physical special editions not even come with the game anymore.
Some of them,
Like,
yeah. Some of them was like, hey, you buy the Ultimate Edition, you still got to buy the game separately. It's kind of nuts. Yeah.
well, me and my daughter were just at GameStop, and they have a Mirage special edition that someone returned, so they haven't sold it yet. And I'm like, oh, cool. What platform is this for? And he's like, oh, it doesn't come with the game. Like,
It's just collectible
what?
stuff.
Not even the code. It literally just toys. I'm like, oh, okay. No, I'm good. That's fine. But thanks anyway. So, I don't really buy collector's editions, so I don't have too much of an opinion on this. I did want the Pip-Boy. That
Oh
was pretty
yeah.
bomb.
Yep. What game was
Any
was
of
that? Fallout
those.
4? Was that 76?
Yes.
No, 76 is the Nuka-Cola, I think.
Yeah.
I wish.
Oh, and the
was getting
Starfield
it.
Watch is pretty bomb too.
Yes, the Starfield Watch
Starfield Watch is
actually
very
was
cool.
very, very tempting. That was super fucking cool.
I have the controller, which is very pretty, but that watch has been really cool.
Yeah. When I used to work at EB Games, I used to have like access to all kinds of collector's editions, like in returns and all that kind of stuff that I used to buy like really like half price or whatever. Or just like the free tat that came with like pre-order bonuses and stuff that no one ever picked up.
Yeah.
So my house was just littered with pre-order bonus stuff. I remember it was like a Need for Speed keychain that was like a toy car. It was cool. It was really, and it had like you could click the bottom of it and the headlights would come on like a torch.
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm never going to use this, but it's cool to have. I used to have like shelves and shelves and shelves of the stuff back when I was a real hoarder. And eventually I just was like, I'm never going to look at any of this ever again. I just either sold it or threw it away. I got a lot of like wall scrolls and I think my favorite one I got was the Darksiders 2 death mask. The mask that he wears. Like they got like came with like a plastic. It was like thick plastic. It wasn't just like flimsy stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The one that I really wish I'd got was the it was like the super expensive one where you got War's sword from Darksiders 1, the giant fucking greatsword that he uses.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, oh, I so wanted that, but again, I was a broke high school student, so I couldn't afford it. Yeah, that was one. I did buy. I remember I bought that Lancer that came with Gears of War 3, like the one, the huge, big, chunky one that the chainsaw thing would run and stuff. It was so fucking
Yep.
stupid. But the build quality was so bad on it that I actually returned it. I was like, oh, this is gonna fall apart in my hands. Like it's just terrible.
Yeah, all that cheap plastic garbage.
I just yeah, like look, I enjoyed a few statues every now and then. Like I ended up with like an Ezio. I think no, maybe not Ezio. It might have been. It was one of the Assassin's Creed, right? And it just had like the worst paint job I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's just some of these collector's editions, it was really hit or miss whether you just get anything worthwhile in them.
Yeah. That actually reminds me, I do have another one. It's in my bedroom. It's not in my. I turned my camera so you could see it. I have an entire bookcase full of just like gamer, not merch, but like I like props.
Memorabilia.
Like I have Captain Price's journal from Call of Duty,
Oh
and I have
yeah.
the blade that the guy has in Shepard in Mass Effect 3,
Yep, the Omni Blade.
and all kinds of stuff like that. But I do have the Fallout, no, not Fallout, Far Cry 4 special edition with the I forget the villain's name, but like bookends.
Pagan Men.
Pagan Min, yeah. I have Pagan Min's like it's like it comes in a big box, and yeah, it's got like
Oh
the
yeah,
bookends and stuff, and he's sitting there. Yeah,
that
so I
was
got
so
that.
cool. Yeah, that was one that I really wish I'd gotten as well. It was around that same time.
I keep forgetting because I see that box in my bedroom. It's like behind my door.
Right. Yeah.
The
Gotcha.
and the bookends, like I just never put them on my shelf. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of did I keep anything from that era? I don't really think I did either. Like, I sold a lot of it. I used to have, I think, the Gears of War 3 statue, the one that came in like the Super Collector's Edition. I think I sold that for like $200 or something. So I made a profit on it, which was great, but it was just like
nice.
literally sitting there collecting dust. And I was like, I don't have the room for this. And then bought a house and moved and everything. And it's like I could start collecting
Yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah.
but it just seems like such a waste of money.
I mean, that's why I don't buy physical anymore. Like
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
always joke that if my house burned down tomorrow, I could just buy a new Xbox and I have all my stuff because I don't have very many physical games anymore,
Yeah.
especially the newer generation and all that stuff. So,
Oh yeah, I've got a few. Again, I got my sleeve of 360 games that I will probably never get to, but it
I
dwindles
feel
every
that.
year. I just work at it. But yeah, Kia, hopefully that answers your question. I'd be keen to see what are some other ones in the chat as well. And here's one that I posed because I realized we didn't. This was something I've been thinking about. We are recording this basically right before the end of June. We're halfway through the year. And I wanted to have a bit of discussion about the game of the year. Now, people who know this show and Real Gamer Score back in the day know that I would always bring up halfway through the year being like, what the fuck is coming out? Like, this year's looking fucking boring as shit. There's no games. And last year I was I was basically as wrong as could be humanly possible. But I wanted to kind of maybe flip that on its head a little bit and talk about what we would have for like game of the year contenders at this point. Because usually when we get to the game of the year discussion, stuff that happens in like that sort of February, March timeline just almost completely gets forgotten about.
recency bias. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it's not like, it's understandable in a lot of ways. I know that like Resident Evil 4, for example, came out in March last year. And it was on quite a few people's lists, but it was like not as high as some of the other stuff. And to be fair, last year was a stacked fucking list. But yeah, I wanted to maybe get your thoughts on if you look over what you've played this year that's come out this year, is there anything on there you're like, okay, are you starting to see the beginnings of a game of the year list, a top 3, a top 5, a top 10? I mean, again,
I'm looking through my games I've played this year. I haven't played anything that was released this year. I don't
right.
think.
That's kind of what was going to be my point. Is I'm looking at my list now. I have, excuse me, I have played 19 games that have released this year. And of those, I can see maybe 2 games that I might want to put in a game of the year list, maybe. Bulbasaur's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there will be a lot of good releases. Like, I'm looking forward to quite a few games that are coming out this year. Not as much as
There has been, honestly.
right. I don't know. Like, so you have, so like if you're on TA and you look at like your games that released this year that you
I
played.
guess I played 2 recently. It was X Defiant
Sure.
and Willy's Wonderland are the 2 games I played
Jeez,
that
those are the
released
2
this year.
games.
So
Okay. All right.
I'm a little skew. Oh, and Senua's Saga. That was pretty
True,
good.
that is true. Yep, yep.
That was pretty awesome.
That was on that. That is the other one that like. If I was gonna have to choose a game of the year right this second, it might have to be that in terms of like I've got 19 games here. Yeah, Those Who Remain I'm not doing. Turnip Boy, I don't think. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is a maybe. It was very good, but I don't know if it's game of the year material. Persona 3 Reload would maybe, but I
Love that.
is great. But I'm also like, it is a remaster of. I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know how I feel about it. But that one's on the line for me. Again, in a similar sort of vein of what we've kind of talked about for Game of the Year last year. Yeah, Return to Grace was good, but not Game of the Year material. Star Wars Dark Forces was good, but it's a remaster for an ancient game. Rotator was trash. Open Roads wasn't very good. Botany Manor was good, but definitely not Game of the Year material. Another Crab's Treasure, maybe, but even then I had sort of mixed feelings on that.
I'm looking at a list of people like games that have scored really high this year, and I mean, I've heard a lot of these, and I know a lot of them are highly rated and games I would love to play. Like the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Yeah.
That looked amazing.
It's really good. It is really good.
Very tempted to play that.
Yeah, I
Like,
definitely recommend it.
Very tempted to buy that. Yeah. Shin Megami Tensei 5. I loved Tensei Nocturne back in the day on PS2. Those are Persona adjacent, aren't they?
That's
I think.
the base series that Persona came from originally. Yeah, because the original
Okay.
game was Shin Megami Tensei Persona, but
Yeah, Persona 3 is here, of course,
Yeah.
because everyone loved that game.
yeah,
Paper Mario, another re-release. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I don't know
Lorelei
that
and the
one.
Laser Eyes is one of those ones that when it comes to Xbox, I'm buying it day one. That looks like it's like
Oh,
that's the kind of like I think from what people have said about that game is my jam in terms of like it is a quite challenging puzzle game.
let's scroll back down.
Yeah,
Horror, puzzle, psychological horror.
the kind of thing where you need to
Cerebral
have a
workouts,
notebook down
safety-
and start writing shit.
Oh,
But it has not come to Xbox yet, so I'm eagerly awaiting
Yeah.
an announcement for that.
see, and then these are the ones I know. Hades 2,
Sure.
Helldivers 2,
Yep.
Dragon's Dogma 2,
That Dragon's Dogma 2, I think, is
and
maybe
then Balatro.
is maybe the one that I'm like, oh, I haven't played that, and I think I really should.
And then the two indie darlings so far this year are Animal Well and Balatro, which I know people love Balatro. And that is another one that I almost bought and played because it seems like it'd be interesting, but those achievements is always like
Yeah,
a
it
little
looks
rough.
pretty rough.
So I'll wait.
And Animal L isn't out on Xbox yet, unfortunately.
Correct. But I've heard that's the one I've really heard everyone popped off about for a hot minute there when it came out. So I keep my ear to the well, but yeah, I'm not usually playing new games, so it's always hard for me to weigh in fairly.
Sure.
I mean, I'm pretty good at picking up on what these games are laying down with their, you know, their trailers and gameplay previews and everything like that. But yeah, I'm pretty rarely playing new games. What was the other game I played release? Oh yeah, Redfall. So
Yeah, okay,
I have spotty
Good track record.
spotty taste
Yeah.
when it comes to that.
Is there anything coming up that you're like, okay, but definitely got to play this, or
Shadows is tempting, but I like playing games in order, so I'm far behind in that series, so I ain't touching that probably. Star Wars Outlaws is getting very good previews.
I think that might be
That is
up
supposed
there.
to be-
Yeah.
That's supposed to be very good. There was another game I know that I've heard, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna buy that day one, but I can't think of what it was.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Ah.
That's dead.
Oh yeah, no
yep.
thanks. I'm good.
That's definitely yeah.
You don't think Disavow's gonna be the game of the year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be one of those games everyone's gonna play and be like, oh, this is pretty good, but I don't see that being like gotta play, gotta have, game of the year. Stellar Blade. I know there was something coming out that I was like, you know what? Oh, Visions of Mana, but I think that might be a little more of a personal taste thing.
I'm sure
I
it'll be a
don't
great game.
think that's gonna be like
Yeah.
knock off the socks everyone.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I get you.
I might be buying that day one. We'll see.
Yeah, because apparently it wasn't coming to Game Pass. Ugh.
Nope. Which I don't think Square Enix games usually launch into Game
No,
Pass,
not
so I'm not
usually.
surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like a bit of a weird year. Like if I had to sort of predict what my game of the year list is, I wouldn't have a clue what I was going to put at the top of it at this point.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of good ones. Honestly, since the pandemic started cooling down, we've had a lot of bangers constantly. Like 2023 was pretty great for games. 2024, pretty good. And then 2025 is already building up to be a heck of a year, especially for Xbox.
Yeah,
Between, Perfect Dark and Gears of War and Fable and just
and probably Indiana
it's
Jones
gonna be
at
a
this
lot.
point.
Yep. Well, yeah. I know they keep saying 2024, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's November. So
Yeah,
if that pushes even a little bit, that's out.
right. Yeah, well, because they said the rumor was Avowed is going to be November, right? And so for me, it just sounded
Mm.
weird for them to be like November Avowed and then December.
Yeah, which I guess kind of matches. I think one of the Indiana Jones came out December recently, but yeah, it's almost like they're releasing like a movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Huh?
I'm definitely interested in the game. I just also don't think it's going to come out
Oh, I
this year.
hope it does well,
Yeah, I'm sure
obviously,
it'll do
but
fine. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come out and they're like, oh yeah, it's okay. I'm like, oh no, Bethesda, come on, man,
Yeah, they really need a bit of a win.
please. Yeah,
All right. Yeah, well, I want to keep that in mind as we kind of go through the next few months and see what comes up and see how those Game of the Year lists are looking. Because I'm curious what kind of arguments we're going to have at the end of the year, like we did last year. Because there was a few in that top 10 that got pushed out. I think it was the one that I was really sad that we missed out. We pushed out was Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It was one of those games last year that was
hmm
April release. So the recency bias kind of thing was in there, but it also had a lot of technical problems at launch that just meant that we just couldn't keep it in there.
yeah. But again, it was such a banger year that it would have been hard for it to keep
Oh,
up anyway.
for sure.
Like, in almost, there were a lot of games released last year that released in almost any of the year that would have been Game of the Year.
Yeah.
But with all that competition, and for this year, honestly, I bet a lot of people are probably leaning toward Helldivers 2 for now,
Yeah.
just because of that really grabbed the entire industry, and everyone's really enjoying it. It's supposed to be very fun.
Hmm.
The developers have done pretty well, besides the whole Sony debacle.
Sure.
So, and honestly, I wonder if that'll come to Xbox. I know we're getting the Starship Troopers game now, which
Yeah,
might
I
be a
don't
good
know what kind of quality level that's going
filler.
to be, but
Yeah, well, licensed titles are all over the place nowadays, and
true.
they used to be just for sure,
Yeah.
but
Easy
nowadays,
gamer score.
I heard the Avatar game was pretty good.
It was
So,
actually not bad. Yeah, it was fine. Again, it wasn't
yeah,
Game of the Year material by any means, but I enjoyed it. Speaking of Ubisoft games, apparently Ubisoft are looking to do a bunch of remakes of their old games. What a fucking surprise!
awesome. I'm
Yeah.
so down for it.
Um, so apparently, Yves Guillemot basically came out and said that players can be excited by some Assassin's Creed remakes. There was an interview where basically he's going to talk about how looking to do kind of build more condensed games like Mirage, and also have ones that are large like Valhalla, but also have Assassin's Creed games come out more regularly, but not for it to be the same experience every year. Which is interesting because I guess they kind of we had that kind of get like Valhalla kind of broke that tradition, right? Like Valhalla was out for a long time, they released quite a bit of content for it, and then they kind of just didn't make
hmm
Assassin's Creeds for a little bit, or they kind of pulled back.
Which honestly, it needed it.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
we were getting pretty, inundated with that, with the movie and everything. Like, it was a lot
Yeah.
at once. So it was needed.
He also talks about Assassin's Creed Hex, which is going to be coming out. They've announced, but they haven't announced a release date for it yet. But basically said it's going to be very different from Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is, I think, a good thing to hear. It's always a little bit worrying when
Yeah.
you hear someone saying, "Oh, we've got like 5 games in the works, and they're all sequels to each other, and they're all basically building on the same thing." I definitely think like Assassin's Creed is a rich enough franchise to have spin-offs and various different versions of the game, and having a big open world game and kind of a more condensed story. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's opportunity there.
I mean, especially if they want to start doing it so like there's a remake that's more in the classic style, and then a newer game that's more in the Origins Valhalla
For
style, like
sure.
well, Odyssey. Like, that would be sure. All right.
Yeah. I'm curious where Shadows is going to fall on that spectrum. Because it looks like Mirage was relatively well received for the most part.
Yes, but from what I heard, small.
It's definitely smaller. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
it was a much more. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It had some. The issues I had with that game were mostly because it was taking the Origins engine or the Valhalla engine and trying to cram the old style of game into that, or cram it into that mold, and it kind of had some teething issues there. But like the structure of the game was pretty good, and I like the kind of more condensed scope.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I heard. Almost like that was like DLC for Valhalla, that it felt like it just expanded a little bit.
Yeah,
So that's why, if they want to go back and give us Assassin's Creed 1 like remake in the old style, and then do Hex is more like a Odyssey Valhalla style,
yeah,
please.
I'm all about it.
As for Shadows, I think it's going to be more on the Origin side, where it'll be a pretty hefty game, but not in like the 300-400 hours whatever Valhalla was.
Sure.
So, and then of course you can pick, do you want to do stealthy or do you just want to blow through everything? Which is cool because it's kind of taking Syndicate to the next level.
Right.
The Syndicate was like that.
Dual protagonist, but yeah.
Yeah, but Jacob and Evie weren't that different. I mean, they were different, but not like Yasuke and Naue are going to be.
Yeah, playstyle wise, they weren't all that different. And you also basically didn't have a choice a lot of that time. A lot of those missions were, you would swap between them, but it was like, this was a mission for Evie, this was a mission for Jacob.
Yeah, and I wonder how much Shadow's going to do, because they have said that you can pick a lot, and that's a lot of programming. I wonder if they more mean like side missions and not this actual story.
Well, from what I heard, basically the tutorial is going to be you switching between the two of them, and then after that you kind of just get to play whatever style you want, which makes me think that
cool.
You like you're kind of leaning into like the immersive sim style thing, where it's like multiple ways to solve problems, and kind of getting to
cool,
great, like I'm all, like I think that's actually a pretty smart direction for Assassin's Creed to go in. The kind of the approach, the assassination and the escape was always the three pillars of that series originally. And so I think having that be more of an option based on not just the tools that you have, but also the character you play as is probably maybe a bit more interesting, and kind of maybe might breathe a bit more life into the series. And I say breathe life into it from a critic perspective as opposed to a commercial perspective, because fucking everyone bought Valhalla. And that game was hugely widely successful. So I always feel a bit stupid being like, oh man, people are getting tired of this model, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but they still fucking bought it. So.
Oh man, they did. Which is, I always laugh at people who are like, oh, Assassin's Shadows is dead because you got to play as Yasuke. Like, did you not? No. Ubisoft of all companies, they would have killed this franchise if it was making money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, immediately. So, no. I'm not even kind of worried about Shadow's success, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. And I would love if they start remaking these games. Like, Assassin's Creed 1 is rough.
It's well overdue for a relook at. At this stage,
just such a little polish,
top to bottom remake at this point.
Yeah,
where
But I think what his wording was, he's gonna bring in like modern times, whatever. And I wonder what they mean by that. Are we talking about like a Assassin's Creed 1 in a Black Flag style? Or are we talking about Assassin's Creed 1 in an Origins Mirage style?
I think Mirage is probably
very different.
It seems like Mirage is the template they're going for these smaller experiences. And I imagine that's, again, they'll use the same engine, of course, because why would they build something separate? But I'm very keen to see kind of what that would even look like.
I guess that would make sense. Mirage and 1 are the same location, pretty much. So
yeah, true. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they work perfect.
I think the rumor was that there was a remake for Black Flag was going to be the first one that they do, which I think would probably be smart, actually, in terms of getting on those member berries, because I know people have a lot of opinion. Like 4 was one of those very divisive games that people fucking loved. I like 4 a lot. It's not a great Assassin's Creed game, but it's a fucking great pirate game.
Yeah. Hot take, I think Rogue is probably the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed games, because it was taking 4 and like that was the final one, you know what I mean? And then they went to Unity, which is I guess.
It's fine. It's fine as long as you were looking at it in photo mode and not actually running the game. Actually, Rogue was fantastic. Like Rogue is maybe a great example of taking what worked in 4, adding some new stuff with like the whole like northern Atlantic like ice stuff, and then but condensing the story down to be like but also it's like it's not as sprawling as 4 was. It's a more condensed experience, because I think it was like six. I think it was like half as long basically in terms of like story.
Yeah, completion wise too. It was
Yeah,
pretty
I really enjoyed
manageable.
Rogue a lot. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm keen to see what they do with this. I mean, but I think like you said, I think one like remaking one, I think would be a big undertaking, but is well overdue, especially because that story is so. I mean, the whole. It is interesting if like how much with the remake stuff. How much do you go into the Desmond stuff again? Because they've kind of moved
Yeah,
completely away
it's
from that
true.
as the series has gone on. Because like, well, Desmond's not part of the series after three.
Spoiler alert, he did.
Yeah, he did
So
exactly. Which again was probably the biggest mistake they ever made. Um,
yeah,
but yes, I'd be
because
curious to see what.
I I haven't played past Syndicate.
Yeah,
So but I've heard, yeah, they the Abstergo stuff and all that's pretty much non-existent now
pretty
in all
much.
the more recent games, which is a shame because I know also another popular opinion, I really like that
Me
stuff.
too.
So I'm kind of bummed that they dropped off all the modern day tie-ins and stuff, but we'll see.
The
Maybe
modern day stuff was the best
they
part of
could,
three.
yeah, and they could do a modern game only because the Watch Dogs universe is in the Assassin's Creed universe.
Technically,
There have
yes.
been Easter eggs and stuff, so. I mean, they could tie that into, I don't know, but whatever. I guess we'll see what they do.
Mm.
Hopefully they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, Assassin's
Because
Creed.
Hex is next year, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
Hexy. It's like
Hexy.
Hexe.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they pronounce
Silent
that,
E. I
but
don't know. There's French people, Um, but yeah, like I'm fine with that. I'm curious to see what. And I think they were still talking about their sort of free to play model stuff that they want to do and kind of ongoing Assassin's Creed Infinity stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, Assassin's Creed Infinity. Yeah,
With
that's apparently still coming. So I guess we'll
apparently,
see.
yeah. So we'll see. Also, in the remake vein, we got an announcement from Capcom that apparently they're going to be
Uh,
redoing the original Dead Rising.
so excited.
Yeah, me
I'm
too,
so
actually.
excited. I called this.
You did.
I even tuned in to your guys' like prediction episode. I'm like, yeah, Dead Rising 1 remake. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that series so much. Like it needs all the love. I really hope that they don't screw this up because I don't think they've really given us too many details yet. But they definitely showed the trailer. Like Frank West looks very different
He does.
compared because he looks like a skinned football a little bit in the first game.
Yeah, a
The
little
graphics
bit.
aren't great. So he's like he's got the hairline like up to
Yeah.
here and just yeah. So I'll be curious if they God, I wish they would just. I know they're probably gonna update it to like Dead Rising 4, but
Yeah,
man, I would love to just
probably.
put Dead Rising 1 there in the what was it Blue Island? I forget who the developer was
Blue
for
Castle, I
Dead Rising
believe it
2,
was.
but that yeah, Blue Castle. If they just put the Blue Castle engine, man, I'd be so happy.
Yeah,
Dead
I
Rising 2 and Off the Record and Case Zero, Case West are the peak of the series.
agreed.
Easy when it
Yeah.
comes to like that weird. This is America from Japan's point of
Yeah.
view, but it's
Yeah.
also Canadian, and it's got the weird. I don't know. I think the tone's perfect in those games.
I think yeah,
So
Case
it'd
West
be
in
great.
particular, or off the record in particular, is just like it had that extra mode of like people who want to just fuck around and kill zombies for hours and not have the time limit stuff. Had the fun
Yep.
challenges, had all the combo weapons plus more. Got to play as Frank.
Hmm.
Like yeah,
Yeah, and I hate replaying games. Dead Rising 2 is one of the few where if they just keep releasing those, I'll do the list again. Even the 10, 100, or 100,000 zombie grind,
oh my
don't
gosh,
care.
yeah. I still
I can
need
do that
to.
game from memory. So I would I would love it. But I am curious. I guess we're getting more news. When is the Ubisoft Forward? I think it's next week. Or not Ubisoft Forward. What am I thinking of? Capcom Showcase, whatever it's
Capcom's
called.
showcase. Yeah, I don't know if they have said when if there's going to be much more information. Their Dead Rising account said that they're going to be doing something soon, but
Well, the I know the Capcom thing is going to be they were very clear. It's going to be the Dead Rise, the DRDR as they're calling it,
yep,
the Resident Evil 8 release on or 7 or whatever on iOS, and shoot, they're scoping something else out. Either way, um, yeah, no. So we'll get some more details on Dead Rising soon, and I'm very curious to see what they're going to do
yeah. Like
because
how?
Dead Rising 4 was rough.
So I heard. I didn't actually play it. Like that was the one that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tap out of this one.
It was a cool game. The completion was a pain, but it wasn't Dead Rising.
Right. Yeah, you got to play as
It was a
Hades.
shambling husk. Yeah, pretty much. Like it was a cool game. It was okay as a game, but if it with the Dead Rising name on it, nah, that ain't it, fam. So I was a little bummed,
I
and I would do the stack on PC, but it's got an
It does.
unobtainable.
It does,
So
unfortunately. I am very
stupid.
curious how much of this is going to get reworked. How much what level of a remake are we talking here?
Yeah, because would modern audiences be able to handle the time limit as Dead Rising 1 first presented it? Because even then, that was seen as like
I was
it was a
brutal.
lot. You know, this is tight. Yeah.
Yeah,
So would they even bother with that with modern audiences? Because Dead Rising 4, for instance, none of that.
yeah.
Like Dead Rising 2 kind of had it. Dead Rising 3 was even less. Dead Rising 4, none of that.
Dead Rising Two
It's all
definitely
gone.
still had it, but it wasn't. It wasn't quite as.
I did.
It did, but it wasn't quite as
S-
stringent. Um,
Yeah. Dead Rising 1 is like
oh, it was brutal.
on
Like you need
time.
to. Yeah, like if. Fuck me, that first day you wander out into the park and there's three convicts in a goddamn jeep with a gun on the back of it, just blow you away. You're like, oh shit, this is my first like 10 minutes of the game. I'm dead.
That's so funny. Like that's my favorite franchise, but I hated that game when I first played it.
Oh, it's
I
a
remember
fucking mess.
dying and like that was the first game I've ever played where you die, come back, and you're still as strong as you were, and you're just get stronger.
Hmm.
So I died. I'm like, this game's impossible. What the frick am I doing? And I just stopped playing. I'm like, I'm never finishing this game. And I came back to it and kind of learned it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Dark 2 came out, and it's, yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely,
it's
definitely
like,
one of my proudest completions ever. And like I redid the Xbox One version when they did that. Um,
yeah. Funny enough, when they announced this, I'm like, I still have that to play. Actually, I might be doing that real soon. So
I've been thinking
maybe
about
there might be a 7 Day Survivor coming up real soon.
that. Yeah, that's the one that really. Oof. It's not that bad once you kind of have a good scheme for it, but it's still like that game could use a lot,
Boring.
lot of love. I think is
It's 16 hours of sitting doing
it's a
nothing.
lot.
Like,
Yeah, and but
and
also
when you
not
like
just being
you
able to
look
switch
away
it
for too
off.
long, you're dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game could definitely use a lot of love. I think it's got a lot of rough edges that I think, while it like a lot of interesting ideas and like there's so much interesting stuff going on in that game and that series, but I think we've kind of as games have evolved that there's some things in there that I don't know if we still need. I think the time limit mechanic is
Yeah.
still important, but I think like there was the whole thing with like the survivors being completely fucking brain dead and just running into zombies and shit. And
God.
it's like you just like
They're real bad.
you don't need that in that game, you know. Like the survivors being somewhat competent is like not going to break everything completely. So I am very curious to see what like are they gonna is it just hey we make it look nice and we added a couple of quality of life things, or is this like no actually we went through and made a lot of changes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, we will be finding out real soon. So
We'll report
next week's
back.
show, I guess we can talk about that.
Some more disappointing news here though. Forza Horizon 4 has been delisted, which is again not super surprising because this tends to happen to all Forza games.
Yep.
But it's fucking gone.
Already?
Well, the DLC is basically,
Oh, well, that's good enough.
which is basically as good as gone, right? So they basically said they're going to be removing Forza Horizon 4 in December due to licensing issues, which is always the issue.
Yep.
15th of December, going to be removed from both PC and Xbox Game Pass. If you own the game, obviously, you have all the content. You can play it online. They're not shutting anything down yet. But all the individual DLC packs have already been delisted since the 25th.
Hmm.
But I believe you still can get the Ultimate Edition until the 15th. So I guess that's maybe a way around it. I'm not sure what. I think you get everything with the Ultimate Edition, but I can't remember. They're also ending the festival playlist as well, though, which is if you need those achievements, now's the fucking time to do it.
Someday I'll get to one of these freaking games before they're delisted.
I'm so glad that I got to 5 and just kind of did all of the stuff that I need to do there because I imagine 5 is probably not long for this world either at this rate, unfortunately.
Yep. I'm sure they'll announce Forza Horizon 6 or whatever it's going to be called, and then that's when they'll start winding down,
Yeah.
end of life or whatever they call it.
But yeah, not much else on that. Just kind of an announcement, a heads up to everyone. If you're looking to get those done, now is the time.
Yeah. If you're going to get done, do it. Especially whatever. I think the festival playlist is like one achievement, I think.
Yeah, you need to play basically. You need to finish every event in the playlist. So that's like finish every event week per week per week, so over 4 weeks. So I think if you want to do that, you got to basically start now.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last story, Neon White might finally be coming to Xbox Game Pass. This was one that was on. It's been on a lot of lists. It got removed from stuff. There was a lot of question marks around like, where the fuck is this game? Because it was a huge. I think it was last year Neon White came out. People were absolutely loving it. A lot of Game of the Year
Yeah,
nominations.
one of the last couple of years. It got a lot. It was a lot of those like, oh man, in any year this would be Game of the Year.
Yeah,
But it didn't make quite too many lists. But it's supposed to be very good,
yeah,
like a puzzly Ghost Runner kind of game.
yeah. 22. Yeah, sorry, yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so finally coming to Xbox. You basically play as an assassin from hell, and it's kind of like a speed running platformer with some combat. Like it kind of mirrors Edgian style thing, but like very quite frenetic. But just never came to Xbox for whatever reason. So there was rumors that it was coming to Game Pass, and I think we've seen a couple people who might have scanned the game in. Well, two people have scanned the game in on Xbox, and we finally got an achievement list. But we're still
Yep, let's say
waiting to
achievements get
hear
listed. So
when are we actually going to play it. Are you keen on it? What are your thoughts?
speedrunning, man.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at achievements. Let's bring that up. What is that, man? Ace medal. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. No, there's actually not that many achievements, are there?
No, it doesn't look too bad actually.
44. Mikey's Heaven, Hell Rush, Die from a Mimic Bullet, complete, 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 complete. A lot of story-based ones.
Collect all the
Relationships,
yeah.
of course, Japanese game. Chance Strange Coin. Ace medal on every level. That sounds like it might be annoying. I don't know. These kind of games are always, I'm sure it'd be really cool, but oh man, do I really want to struggle with something like that right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
They can be tough.
I guess yeah. I'll leave it to more skilled players to kind of trudge those
Yeah,
games before me
I did.
before I jump on
I did Mirror's Edge, man, and
it.
that has always, from ever since, scared me off any of these kind of games because that was rough.
Yeah.
That was easily one of my roughest completions.
I've still
It
yet to
was
finish
so
it.
pinpoint. You land wrong. Like the character can land different ways, and they land different, and you're facing the wrong. You start over and just over and over. No, I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure I'll get a kind of an idea of it as people start finishing it. Looking at achievements, it's not horrendous, depending on what ace medals are. But other than that, it doesn't look like it's like terrible.
I don't know what the PlayStation
All I know is
list
this was like one of those. This was one of those darlings. Like it
Yeah.
was a huge game in 2022, and it was released on the Switch, which was even weirder because I remember people going, "Wow, game's amazing. Why is it on the Switch only?" So it'll be cool to see it come to Xbox at least. I just don't know if it's for me.
PSN Profiles has it as an 8 out of 10 difficulty. So
Yep, that sounds like a speedrunner, all right.
yeah, it definitely does.
Oh, that was Annapurna? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
Annapurna's the
They
one
do
publishing it.
good
Yeah.
work over there.
Yeah.
Oh, Maka's one of the ones who's got some of the achievements in it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Figures.
So hopefully not too far
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, I bet that'll be like in the first batch of July really
I was going to
Game
say
Pass reveals.
I was actually just about to move us on to Game Pass updates, and July the first 2 weeks of July are looking pretty quiet.
Yeah, see, we haven't got that announcement yet, I bet.
Yeah, they have just.
Oh man, look at
haven't-
this game coming.
right? And so we do have what we do know is we've got a magical delicacy flock on the 16th. We have Dungeons of Hinterberg and Flintlock. Flintlock, I'm actually quite excited for on the 18th. Path of the Goddess on the 19th, and then Frostpunk was the 25th, but I think it might have gotten delayed. I'm not 100% sure. There was some news story about that today, I believe.
Yeah, I just saw that. Anyway,
Yeah, delayed by 2 months apparently. So we will not be seeing that until September. So
yeah, pretty sparse list.
yeah, especially yeah, and that's all back half. So I'm guessing there's got to be something. There's got to be some Game Pass stuff coming in the next couple of weeks, right?
Yep, I'm sure we'll get some news real soon.
I have been like itching for something new to play, and so like I've been keeping a close eye on what's on Game Pass and just seeing if there's anything there that jumps out at me. In terms of what's leaving, which will be in the next couple of days, we've got Stranded Deep, Fist, FIFA 22, Sword and Fairy, Together Forever, and Story of Seasons, Friends of Middletown are all leaving Game Pass pretty quick.
Did you manage to get to any of those?
So thankfully, yeah, I'd already done Fist because I did it a year ago when it came out because I did it while I was traveling for my wedding. But Sword and Fairy was one that I played last week, and just kind of smash through. And it was okay.
Right. That was the one I was probably gonna go for if I did, but I didn't end up getting any of these,
I don't
so.
think you're missing too much with it. It's a very Alison was telling me it's very traditional sort of Chinese what's it cultivation well, actually I don't know because they're not manhwas, right? Because manhua is manhua. Yeah, so it's like very sort of traditional story around like again, like I feel like I'm missing a lot of the cultural references because again it is all in none of it's in English, so it's all subtitled, and there's a lot of talk about cultivation and deities and heaven and hell and demon and heaven's demons and all this kind of stuff, and it's things that I'm just kind of just not. I got the gist of it, but like I felt like I was missing a lot from it. Also, the translation is not amazing, and the game itself is quite. There isn't, it feels a bit disjointed, like it's a bit thrown together. I thought it was fine, but
okay.
Yeah, but I don't think you're missing much from not playing it. Fist, I really enjoyed. I know quite a few people in our community have been playing it. Chin Doctor just finished it. Aptos has got one achievement left.
I saw that.
Glitch on him, the poor bastard, so he's had to go back and get it. He's the only person I've seen who's had issues with that game. I feel really bad for him because he had like 3 different issues that caused stuff. So,
man, that'd be a bummer.
Cameron apparently is playing it right now. He's in the chat. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that game as I enjoy a good Metroidvania, and it was. The nice thing is that it had been on PlayStation for quite a while before it came to Game Pass, so there were plenty of guides out and that sort of stuff for getting 100% on all the maps and all that sort of stuff. And you can play it on easy, which also helps.
Huh, he's talking about this Age of Empires 2 game. I
never heard of that. It's some weird fucking indie title he's trying to get
play
everyone
Fist.
to play. Play
Fist.
better.
Yeah,
get fisted.
Yeah. Play Fist and Sword and whatever.
Yeah, Sword and Fairy, exactly. Well, with that out of the way, let's get into what we've actually been playing. I'll admit, like I said, I've been kind of finishing things up, trying to find some new things to play. We finally finished Diablo 4, so finally hit level 100. I found someone to run me through Uber Lilith because I ain't doing 300 hours to grind out that shit.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, super nice guy, helped me out with it. That game's great. I'm very, very excited for the DLC. I'm keen to play more of it when that drops. It is very fucking expensive though, the DLC, but it's Activision gonna Activision. But yeah,
Microsoft got Microsoft now.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's just my fucking 2 worst things together. Yeah, I think I'm really happy with the state the game is in right now. I was really enjoyed playing as a Necromancer, getting to level 100. We were playing this nightly, and I look forward to playing it every single day. It's not overly deep. It's not overly complex. It is very much a loot grinding game. Doing it in co-op.
It's Diablo.
It's Diablo.
It is the loot grinding game.
Exactly, right? And I think that the balance they've got now with the way they've done aspects and that kind of stuff, so you can kind of move aspects to other things instead of you can whenever you salvage something, if it has an aspect on it, you can use the legendary aspect on something else, so you don't have to like constantly be swapping things out as much. They give you a lot more options and customization with your equipment and your builds, and I really enjoy playing through as a Necromancer and having like a really powerful like summoning minions build that actually felt like I was making a difference in my party as opposed to just being kind of fodder.
Yeah, it's fair.
Had a great time with it. I know Aptos is nearly done with it as well. He hit level 100. He's got a couple other miscellaneous stuff to do. Todd just finished it as well, which I'll mention in completions. And Keo is nearly done as well. He's actually going to try and do Uber Lilith legit because he has a very, very powerful rogue build, and he says that he's going to try and build it into being the thing that kills Uber Lilith. And then so you can just hit him up to run those, I guess.
I guess so. Did the DLC for that game add achievements?
We'll see. Oh, it's not out yet, so
so this is the first DLC coming out.
Yes, so this is the first like DLC pack.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it looks. That trailer from game looks so fucking good. Like it was fucked.
I've shown everyone that trailer because I don't care if you don't even know anything about Diablo. That was cool.
It was so good. Yeah.
That acting, all of it.
Yeah.
So
I'm very, very excited for that. I think Aptos might have pre-ordered it or pre-bought it because you get some extra stuff in game now if you pre-order it, of course. So I think that's in September. I am definitely keen on it. I'm curious. They probably will have new achievements for it, but this is the first time they've done this kind of expansion, I guess. They did do an expansion for 3, but that was a completely different release.
Yeah, it was I forget, Reaper of Souls or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. The game ends on a cliffhanger, so and it leads straight into it with the expansion. I'm curious if they're going to do more than one expansion as well. I haven't really kept up with that.
So now that you finished it, did that trailer make any sense to you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The story basically ends right before that trailer begins.
Gotcha. All right. I haven't played Diablo since the first one on like the PlayStation, so I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I
That game was very bare bones. So
yes, very much so. I do have some issues with the story a little bit. I liked a lot of the broad strokes of kind of what was going on in the story, but some of the character stuff is just kind of not like it's real dumb. But whatever, I'm not going to get into it.
all right, it happens.
Yeah, it's just I also did the Little to the Left DLC that just recently came out.
Saw that.
Seeing Stars, it's called. I don't like it as much as the previous DLC, which was more about like I think it was like called Drawers and Cupboards or something. This one's got some like I think this one has some really good puzzles in it, but I think it also suffers from some of the issues the main game has, but there's just some stuff that's just kind of weird and esoteric and not really because there's no dialogue, there's no text, right? There's kind of a
Yeah.
lot of things that you can quite easily miss or not figure out or just kind of be scratching your head around.
You tried having a more of an ADHD brain,
Right.
because I know every time I look at one of those puzzles, I go, "Oh yeah, duh. Clearly, my brain wants to. I need to fix this. I need to fix
Yeah,
this."
the ones where you
So
like put stuff in like locations and fit things together, I fucking love all that. But there's like one, for example, that's
yeah.
around organizing different sport balls. Like you have, let's say, like a
Hmm.
volleyball and like a tennis ball and all that kind of stuff. And so you got to organize them in various orders to, in the same way that you do in the main game. But I'll tell you, I'll give everyone one clue. Make sure you pick up the balls and drop them from the top.
Hmm.
Because they all bounce, but they all bounce at a different amount. And that was one that I was like, I could not figure. I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on here because I just didn't think about it. I was like, well, I'm organizing them. I'll just drag them across. Why would I lift it up and drop it? So anyway, there was a few things in there that are like that. I was like, some of the puzzles were really, really good, and I really, really enjoyed. But some of them just felt like a slog. There's also a lot of this DLC doesn't have a huge. I think it only has about 30 or 38 puzzles or so, but they have a lot of multiple solutions for them. So there are some puzzles that have like 5 different solutions, which is kind of nuts to kind of keep track of.
That.
And so I kind of felt like I would have enjoyed. Like I prefer when it's like maybe 2 solutions to a puzzle, but you have more puzzles. And I know there's more work in it, but I just kind of find it as a more interesting kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you get
still
4
haven't
out of 5
actually played that.
solutions, and then you're like, okay, what the fuck did the game designer think the 5th solution was going to be? How am I going to put myself in their mindset? I also started Humanity, which is recently
Oh,
added
I
to
did
Game
that in
Pass.
my little preview game. That was cool.
Yeah. How much of it did you play?
I only do an hour,
Sure.
so I got into. I think I finished the first world. I think.
Like the tutorial, and then that's yeah.
Yeah, and then the world after that.
Gotcha. What did
was
you
I got
what do
through,
you think?
so.
I'm probably about the same. Like I did like the tutorial and maybe like half of the first world so far. I'm like very early into it. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was really cool. It seems like a kind like I played Lemming. I love Lemmings
Sure.
back on the SNES. Very similar, but more of a 3D thing. Um, from what I've seen, it gets a lot more complicated than what I saw. Like there's like bad guys and stealth and all kinds of stuff.
Get like guns and stuff.
Yeah, but obviously my mind immediately goes to completion wise, and since it's a puzzle game, I'm sure and it's been on PlayStation for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty of guides and put them literally do this, and this step, and probably a very easy completion overall. So yeah, I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I am worried about the complexity of the puzzles and my mind just not being smart enough to comprehend a lot of that shit.
I overthink a lot of those.
Yeah. I know that the one thing I'm worried about is the completing 5 hard puzzles, completing 10 hard or expert puzzles in the kind of puzzle generator thingamajig, which
Yeah.
I believe the way they do it is the completion rate of the puzzles of everyone who's played that puzzle basically determines what difficulty it's at. So,
Oh,
and because they're all user generated, you kind of have to fucking
yeah.
get real good at the game. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but I know a few people in our community have finished it and said that it was challenging, but not overly so. But we'll see. It's kind of been like I was dipping my toe into a few different things because I want to find something new to play, and this was kind of one that I was like, okay, this would be a good one. Also runs nice on my PC and all that kind of stuff. So
That helps.
yeah,
I feel like that'd be a lot easier to play it with a mouse.
yes, yeah, definitely feels that way. Yeah. What have you got in the tank, Shane?
Oof. Well, I haven't been on in a while.
Yeah, I
So,
want to hear.
um, more recently, of course, I finished X Defiant.
Yes, congratulations, by the way. We saw you
Yeah, that was a pain.
chronicling your journey on the Discord.
My utter rage at that game. So I'm the kind of I like Battlefield. I like games where I can sit in a bush on a hilltop and snipe one guy the entire 30-minute match and go, sweet. I feel great. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I was trying to play X Defiant like that. It's very I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, but I would assume Call of Duty is like it's very fast paced, it's very close quarters, all that kind of fun thing. And but until you get to level 25, you are in welcome playlists. So you are with other people that are kind of starting out. Um, and I was playing as the third. If you don't know, X Defiant, the factions are different Ubisoft properties. So you have Third Echelon for Splinter Cell. They're sneaky. You got the Phantoms. They're from Ghost Recon. They're a little tankier with some cool tech. You have the Rebels from Far Cry, and et cetera, et cetera. Um, I love stealth games, so I immediately went for Third Echelon, and I would stealth around, and I got my first two. Okay, so the main achievements you're going to go for in this are you have to hit level 50 in a weapon, level 50 as a character, and level 50 and hit 3 MVPs. So you have to get character player of the game 3 times. If you played Overwatch or any more recent shooter, you know what that is. I was able to get the first two of those MVPs fairly easily while I was just kind of playing for fun in the welcome playlist. Then I left the welcome playlist. I went from getting fairly high up ranks to those people getting 4 or 5 times my score.
Jesus.
It was infuriating. So I had to switch tactics. I had to start hitting the objectives. I had to start rushing, headshotting, sliding in and headshotting everyone in the area. I had to get good. And it was rough. It was very rough. Um, Many times I think I posted, yeah, in the Discord Saturday. It was match after match after match. I would be like the second place by 20 points, 300 points, like something minute. And all the time I found it was always like the last couple seconds.
Yeah.
Like the match would be ending. I'm like, oh, how am I doing? And I'm winning. I'm like, oh, sweet. And I'd rush in and start trying to fight. And then the match would end and someone's 1,000 points over me. And I'm like, what is going on? But I finally did it. I used a Phantom. I like stealthing, but that wasn't giving me extra points. It doesn't do anything to kill someone in stealth. It doesn't do anything to sneak around in stealth. Nothing like that. It's all objective based. So I would use the Phantoms and use their shield and toss it into the objective. I'd get a lot of points for doing damage. I'd be rushing and yeah, I finally got it. And funny enough, I got it as I was level 48.
Oh.
So it was only a couple more levels and then boom, I was done. And I was like, thank God, I am so done with this garbage. I really hope they don't add more achievements. I know that's likely. I kind of hope X Defiant doesn't do well enough to warrant more achievements, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they would add because none of the achievements are like based on the character classes, the factions, even the modes.
Yeah.
So I wonder what they would add, but I guess we'll find out. I'm stuck with it now, so.
Rabbids, Cameron says. They'll add Rabbids. Yep.
The rabbits are in it. They're one of the levels is arena, and they're like the mascot, and they're up in the Titantrons and stuff, and
That's pretty great.
doing their rabbit things. And I think I unlocked in the battle. I almost bought the battle pass. I was tempted, but I was like, nah, I'm good. But you do get like oh, if they had a Just Dance, I'd play again. Let me just say that. If they had just like a Just Dance, a dancer team, I might jump back in. That'd be pretty sweet.
Everyone dressed up as like panda mascots and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Oh no, it's Night Queen now. They got the Night Swan and her reign against the dancers of the Dancerverse, and
I'll have to
it's
take
a
your
very
word for it.
complicated lore. Okay, it's a very complicated lore. But yeah, that was a lot of my last week or so. Oh no, it took me 12 days to finish that, so
Oof,
almost 2 weeks. And a couple of those days I wasn't playing at all, so I got good pretty fast.
that's impressive.
Uh, Popping in and out of Minecraft, those got more achievements, so I've been kind of using all those various stacks that I have achievements in to continue my streak as I play other things, like X Defiant, for instance. I was out all day, all night for family dinner, so yeah, I got an achievement in that today too while I was at work. Let's see. Before that, I did Willy's Wonderland. That's probably the other 2024 game I've played for some
Yep.
reason. So the background behind that is, I don't know if you've seen the movie. Have you?
I have seen the movie, yes.
Yeah,
He doesn't talk.
it's a
That's
trip.
that's the bit.
Yeah, it's a very strange movie. It's a thrown away Five Nights at Freddy's script that Nick Cage did for fun, and yeah, he didn't talk in it because he doesn't get paid.
Yeah.
Like SAG-AFTRA, if he says a word, he has to get paid those rates. So he didn't say anything. He just is silent the whole movie. And me and my best friend saw that, and we've always referenced it because it was just a weird movie. And then the game got announced. Like it literally just popped out of nowhere.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, it's $5. So I bought it. And then I went on Amazon and bought the shirt. And then I whipped out some makeup and I painted the beard on he has. And I got my little spicy Cayman Jacks. And I played that game completely silent and blind because there was no achievement guides or anything.
Yeah.
Thank God there was no unobtainables. I would
Oh
have felt
shit! I
so
didn't even think
stupid.
about that. Yeah.
And it was easy. It's a very easy completion. It took me about it. I had Okay, I put a lot of work into this. I had the stream,
Hmm.
and then every hour my alarm would go off, and I'd play pinball. I actually found like the pinball machine that they had converted in the movie. I
Hmm.
found a skin for that in an emulator, and I had it on stream and all the stuff. And yeah, it's a good thing I kind of felt like I was getting near the end of the game. Like, all right, I'm gonna take my break now, and I pushed the little button and did my break because yeah, it was a very short game. It takes like 40 minutes to finish.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um, Probably the coolest part of that is that I posted about it on Reddit, I posted about it on Twitter, and I thought, it's fun. The developers saw it
Mm.
and they like were all excited. They like one of them jumped in while I was playing Xifine actually and raging at that. Thank God I wasn't on cam or mic or anything, but he jumped in and started going, "Oh my God, are you live? Are you actually live? Oh man, I'm so excited!" And I've been passing around your post on the Discord, and it was cool because I got like a little kind of impromptu interview with him.
Mm.
I was like, so why? And he even like, oh, it's a bad game. Like we just needed the money. The producers came to us and we tossed it, the kind of skinned it over our other game, which he actually gave me a free code for, which is cool. I'm gonna
Oh
be doing
cool.
that probably soon. Um, yeah, and I was just glad because I know artists got artists. They want to make art.
But you also got to
And
eat,
he
right?
was in like, yeah, he's like, we felt a little soulless about this, and it was a little bit of a morale hit to my team.
Yeah.
But seeing your stream, that was very cool, and we're glad you enjoyed it. And I told him about the achievement hunters and how they'll love this game. Like it's
Yeah.
40 minutes, $4. That's the stuff they eat up. And he was like, "Yeah, it's awesome," and it's just a really cool interaction and get to talk to him and kind of get an insight into more of that world because we don't get a whole lot of transparency on how especially like achievements. Like he was talking about how they made it easy because whatever. And he's like, "Oh, we forgot a tutorial. Whoops, we didn't have time." And I don't know. It was very cool interaction. I did not expect that from a joke stream
Sure.
on a game that I just whatever. But that was very neat. That was like a highlight of my last few weeks. Um, and then before that, I was in a GameFly kick. Uh,
Yep.
I'm sure you guys saw all those completions
We
coming
did see
through.
quite a few
GameFly gave
completions.
me Yeah, GameFly gave me a month for $1. Whenever I get those, I'm like, all right, what are some physical titles I can knock out that are garbage that I don't want to touch otherwise? So I finished My Little Pony: A Maritime Bay Adventure, Rainbow High: Runway Rush, Fast and Furious: Spy Racers: Rise of Shifter, Clash: Artifacts of Chaos, which is an actually real game. That
Hmm.
was actually really hard. Skull Island: Rise of Kong, that classic everyone
Yep.
loves, and JoJo Siwa Worldwide Party.
Oh no.
Really, really tanked my ratio there of all these. But you know, Skull Island Rise of Kong has a 2.587 ratio. Why? Why? That makes no sense.
People are just memeing
That
on it,
was
I
a really
guess.
easy game. Yeah, that was. That was a weird game. It's a shame because I can see what the developers were going for, and I feel like they had to strip out a lot of what they wanted to do, and it ended up turning it into just nothing. There's nothing. I literally there's parts of my stream where I'm holding the button and just playing on my phone because I'm just running through nothing, and I don't have to fight any bosses or monsters because that doesn't do anything. You don't get
There's no point. Yeah.
yeah, you don't get experience or anything for that. So yeah, it was boring.
I'm
The
thinking about
only
making
highlight
that
of that was
maybe
Clash.
maybe thinking about making that my next milestone game. We'll see.
To do it, I'll say it was very easy.
That's good.
It wasn't. I had a couple crashes. I actually glitched through a floor, but I kind of did it on purpose, and it skipped a collectible for me, so that
Ah,
worked. But because I like, there's like a fast travel between areas. There's 5 maps of nothing, and there are shortcuts between them. And I glitched through the floor of I think the second level that skipped me to the fourth level, so I can grab a collectible quick and then skip back out. So I didn't have to go back and collect that later.
got it.
But yeah, it's easy.
All right.
I would do it. It's inoffensively bad, but funny how bad it is. There's a point with a JPEG.
Yes, the JPEG, the classic JPEG. Yeah.
I didn't know about that until it popped up. Like, oh, that's gotta be a thing. I hope people
Yeah.
notice that.
Oh,
At
people
one point,
noticed
my
it.
screen just glitched. There was like a test thing or
Yeah.
something. It just popped up on my screen. Like, what? And then it popped out. Like, all right, then whatever. It's fine. Clash was cooler. I recommend that game to anyone who's played the Xenoclash games. I know those aren't the most popular games, but
They're
that was
very
cool.
creative.
They're very weird. I
Yeah.
played Xenoclash 1 and 2, and I couldn't tell you a thing that happened in those
No,
games.
neither.
Um, I will say this sticks with you a little more. There's more of a story. There's a lot more heart to it. It's also a lot harder because it's a Souls like. I did not know that when I jumped in until like halfway through. I'm like, this feels like something else, and then that's when I realized, oh, this is a full on Souls like. I'm dodging and having to hit and getting my butt kicked constantly,
That's
and
great.
yeah, it's pretty good though. And you like those kind of games, don't
I
you?
love those kinds of
Like you're
games. So
saying,
definitely get
yeah.
it. If I can
So yeah,
find a copy of it.
you'd love that. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know it came out. I was just going through. I usually sort by least played. This is my favorite thing to sort by on
Yep.
TA to find games to play GameFly. And yeah, I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's neat. And I looked at the achievements quick, and that seems fine. And it was only after I'd already ordered it and was doing research where I'm like, wait, I know this team, Ace Team. Yeah, this is a Xenoclash game. I did not know that even came out. So
Huh.
yeah. And other than that, obviously Yumi did Gatling Gears amongst that whole
Yes. Yep.
section too.
Yep.
And I did a few of the games leaving Game Pass, like Bramble and the Bookwalker. Yeah. So then that's more or less been my busy time. I just started Max Payne again,
I saw you finish
which I put
challenge
off for a
mode on
long
that.
time. Yeah, I had to GITGUD when I was playing X Defiant. So I was in between games and I was like, I'll toss Max Payne, why not?
Sure.
And I immediately realized, oh, this translates directly. When I can like dive in, headshot,
Yep,
headshot,
yep.
headshot, headshot, headshot as I jump through an area. I'm like, this might be a good time to start kind of maybe trying this game.
All
So
right.
yeah, no, I'm gonna make a pretty good effort, I think, the next week to maybe if I can get Shadows Rush me, oof,
That would be insane.
that would be yeah. So my goal is to at least finish. I think I have old school mode and
Hardcore.
not the Shadows
probably.
Rush me, but the first New York Minute.
New York Minute. Yep. Yep.
So I'll get those done, and then I will give it an honest attempt to Shadows Rush me probably on stream. And man, I really hope I get that. That'd be pretty bomb.
That'd be amazing.
And that's what I've been playing.
Amazing. And then last couple of things from me. I finished the base game for Tales of Arise. I think my opinions haven't really changed on how I feel about that game. I think that the story is pretty good. Not amazing, but I think like pretty good. The combat is still a little lackluster. I still don't feel like it works. Like, I don't know. Action
Is
RPGs.
this your first Tales game?
No, I played Tales of Vesperia, and I was a huge fan of that game.
Okay. Did you ever play? See, I only played Tales of Symphonia. Is the only one I've ever played of
Yeah,
those.
right.
That's like back on the GameCube, and I think it actually has been released on Xbox. Now I think about it,
Um,
but yeah.
yeah, so yeah, because I played Tales of Vesperia back on the 360 days, loved it. This is kind of similar in that vein, obviously, same series. Yeah, I don't know. Something about it just was not grabbing me. Like I play. It took me about 50, 51, 52 hours to finish it all. And thankfully, you can move progress to the Series X version. So if you make sure you have a save
Hmm.
before each achievement, you can kind of get everything. Now I'm moving on to the DLC, but I just have not been super excited to go and do that. I don't know. It's just
That
something
sounds unfortunate.
something about it just didn't grab me. Not in the way that some RPGs do. So like you get something like I'm trying to think of a good example now, but it's like Final Fantasy X, for example, or Lost Odyssey or something. It was like something I would just blitz through and just play all the way to the end and just rinse everything out
Yeah.
of. And I think a lot of that comes down to the narrative and just kind of if the pacing felt a bit weird in the game, but it had some interesting reveals. It's got a lot of like nice quality of life stuff to it. It looks good. It plays well. I just think the combat is maybe a little too stiff for a game that's kind of trying to be a action RPG within battle, in the same way that the Tales games always are, right? Where it's like it's a set arena.
Yeah.
Enemies just don't seem to react super well to a lot of your attacks, and you kind of just get bodied a lot of the time. You can play it on story mode, just kind of have like a nice easy time with it though, so it's kind of a non-issue. But yeah, I will do the DLC. It's probably another 20 hours, but I'm just kind of trying to find things in between to play, which led me to another recent Game Pass release, Rolling Hills, which
Oh, another
is
one I previewed. That was very cool.
yeah, we get to play as a
Cute.
little sushi making robot, go around town and make friends and upgrade your ingredients. And I think Kirby, no, I think Cameron described it as no, sorry, I think Cameron was playing a lot of it, and then Kirby described it as baby's first Overcooked. And I can kind of
See,
see
I'd go
that.
Diner Dash. Going
Yeah,
back.
Diner Dash is exactly Diner Dash is a great example of that. Haven't played one of these kind of games in a while, but I'm having a decent time with it. It's nice and mindless. So I'm about maybe 5 or 6 hours in. And
Is
just
it a short completion? I forget to look, but
it's
I know
like
I know
15 to
it's an easy
20 hours.
completion.
It's
But
an easy completion. It takes apparently like oversays its welcome a little bit. You kind of have to grind out for levels at the end to get level 20 because you have to unlock all the
yeah.
recipes. So we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to basically spec the furniture that you get to give you more experience because I know that's kind of going to be an issue. So I'm trying to do that early. But I'm having an okay time with
Smart.
it. It's not challenging at all. It's just kind of relatively chill. So we'll get that done.
See, that one I worry about would get more achievements. Like that seems like the kind of game where they might toss out a quick update in another 6, 7 months and
Yeah.
toss more achievements on there.
I would hope they wouldn't be too difficult though, at least. So I don't mind too
No,
much.
no, no. I don't think it'd be like predatory or anything like that. I just
Yeah.
think it might be like, oh, here's some more, but maybe right when it leaves Game Pass or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
probably actually,
So
unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I think that's pretty much everything we've been playing. Is there anything else? Any last minute stuff?
no, not really. Well, if you could bring any one of those like Tales games or JRPGs, what would you want to maybe be ported to the modern consoles?
Oh man, I would love. Yeah, like one of the old ones would be cool. Symphonia. We missed out on all the
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tales of Berseria, I think 1 and 2, and Tales of Zestiria. There's some references to some of those characters in this game. In the same way they do with all the Tales game, where it's like the optional
Yeah.
dungeon after the game, you get to usually fight one of the previous protagonists and stuff. So they kind of do that again, which is
Like
fun.
Lloyd and all them, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but overall, like, yeah, I'm weighing up whether I want to start Octopath Traveler, 2 because I
I've heard
did the
good things
first
about
one,
those.
and I'm like the second one. I'm like maybe I might do that. I was looking at was it Uridin Chronicles, but that's like 120, and I'm like, oh, I don't
Ooh,
know.
the
If I,
100 Year War or
Yeah.
100 something like that.
yeah, it's a 100-hour game too as well apparently. So I was like, I don't know if I want to commit myself
I've
to
heard it's
that.
amazing,
I'm
but
I'm sure it's. I mean, again, like it's the Suikoden spiritual successor, right? So I can kind of.
that's fair.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. It's if anyone has suggestions for stuff to play, feel free to shout it out to me because I am kind of in the market for a new project. And yes, as Cameron points out, I am going back to finishing Forza. I have been doing a few runs of the Eliminator as well. No luck yet. I really should stream that, but yeah, I have been bashing my head against it a little bit. All right, and then we go on to our leaderboards. In third place, we have Vulgar Latin with 4,510. In second, we have MC Pandas with 5,075. And in first place, we have Zenimus, our good friend Zach, with 5,400. Good job, everyone. Shane, do you want to read through our completions?
Where's that at?
It's on the Trello. It says completion shoutouts.
Oh, hey, Cameron, since you're on here, you haven't invited back to the Trello yet.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine. I'll sort that out after this. So we have the Moonzom finished up Humanity and Kona 2. Kona, yeah, that's one I'm curious about as well, actually.
This one? Oh, Kona. Yeah, it's another one I previewed. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, is it coming up? That seems cool.
It does. I enjoyed the first one quite a bit.
Is it similar?
Very similar, yeah. Yeah, very
Okay.
lot of the kind of, yeah, very similar idea of weird shit happening and ghost animals and wandering around.
Yeah, are those like, is like a monster going to chase you at some point, or is it just kind of spooky,
yeah, I think definitely. Like at some
exploring?
stage, some sort of monster will chase you for sure. I think is pretty much what's going to happen.
That's too spooky. I don't know about that.
Cameron did the Duck Detective, which I'm very excited to play. Apparently, it's very, very good. And he also finished another Crab's Treasure. Jake finished up Medieval, the 2019 PlayStation version. Professor Pluto finished up Botany Manor. Shadowed Sly did COD Classic. Jake also finished up Alone in the Dark 2008 and wrote a bit of a spiel on it, which apparently he really enjoyed it, even though he could recognize how shit it is.
Oh, he's crazy.
Yeah,
Whatever.
he's completely nuts. I'm looking forward to. I do want to try the newest one though. I heard it was okay. Baron von Neumann finished up Lords of the Fallen, the new one. Vex finished up Fallout 76. Natolinator finished up all of the MLB The Show series, which is very impressive. Rapture finished up Power World and just finished up Hellblade 2. Todd finished up Wreckfest and Diablo 4, and L4D Pills here, which I assume means Left 4 Dead, finished up Hell Let Loose, which he put like 500 hours into, and looks like one of the most insane completions I've ever seen.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm very okay not playing that. But
speaking of those kind of games, one of the ones I previewed was that Asunzo game, which is very similar.
Oh, was it really? Like, yeah, I saw that.
Brutal World War I shooter. Like, okay. I'm good. No, it's okay.
Yeah. We've also got the Word Challenge, everyone's favorite competition, where I come up with a game, put it into our bot, and you go on our Discord and go into the channel and guess what the game is. Every week I give away a new clue. And if you win $20. Simple as that. A gift pops up with the game. I usually try and choose something funny if I can. But the first clue was this game is a Microsoft IP. The second clue was this game has other media. So other media around it. So like TV shows, movies, fucking all that other kind of shit. The new clue is this game showed up at E3 2005. So that'll give you probably a rough idea of what era of game I'm talking about here. So, yeah.
Is it the Watcher?
No. Yeah. No, it is not the Looker or the Listener or the Witness. Fine, all
right.
But best of luck to everyone. It is the game that showed up at E3 2005, has other media, and is a Microsoft IP. The Smeller. No, it is not the Smeller. Okay, all right. Cameron, we're not talking about the Toucher, okay? That's not appropriate. Also, patreon.com/HallOfGamers. If you want to help support the show, we do have a Patreon. A huge thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natolinator, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavaliers07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, McLovin Legend, Mace J, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. We literally could not afford to do the show without you guys, so thank you all so much for your support. If you are interested in joining the Patreon, we do put up some extra content. All of our Lights, Camera, and Action episodes where we review other media based on video games. So right now we're going through the Fallout TV series. You can go check it out. The latest episode has myself and Shane on it and Keo, so go and check that one out. We give all the content away to all of our subscribers at any tier, so any amount helps. It literally helps fund things like Zoom and hosting for like Buzzsprout and stuff like that, just so we can keep making the show. And we also do before and after behind the scenes stuff whenever we have it. So if you're interested in getting more content, that's the place to find it. And if you have suggestions for other stuff you'd like to see, we're also all open to ideas. I love doing this show, so I'm always keen to talk video games. And that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch, like I said at the open. So Xbox Hall Gamers is the place to find us. Come say hi, hang out in the chat. Shane, you stream quite a bit. What have you got going on?
You can find me on FirehawkD_Xbox on Twitch. I am streaming almost every day, playing whatever I'm playing at the time. If you're looking for popular stuff, I'm not playing that. I'm playing something you've never heard of, probably. I am also FirehawkD on Twitter or X. FirehawkD on YouTube as well. I post a lot of my compilations and achievements and stuff like that on there. And of course, FirehawkD on Xbox.
Fantastic. And as always, I am Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. Well, that has been episode 129. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Peace out.